Welcome to Office Hours. I'm Steve Drost. With me, as always, Will Kaplan. Of course, me and Will, both from the Quivr team. What is Quivr? We are the CRM built by financial advisors for financial advisors, and our objective is incredibly simple. How can we help you run your business at peak efficiency? Now, each week, we take a couple of topics that came directly from our users who are trying to do just that. They're trying to make their lives just a little bit simpler. Now, Will, you had an interesting thing come up during office hours. And I like how you said it's like sometimes we just have to get back to the basics. And yeah, I'd love to hear you elaborate on your specific case.
Yeah, so this touches a lot of, I think, the core principles of why we do these videos. But what was going on here is we had a user who primarily worked with physicians. And so she wanted to review all of the disability insurance policies kind of I just need to get caught up. I want to go through and check all of them. And I want to make sure that, these 5 fields are correct and that I don't need to pay attention to these, that I can put them back on the shelf. Great. Visit it again in 6 months. Okay. So the way she was doing this is she was going into each household, clicking on the insurance policy module,
Hold on,
going to
one by one,
disability.
one by
Yeah,
one.
yeah, yeah. And then pulling up that policy and looking like, okay, how much is the coverage and is it ONOC or, is it like all of the things that we normally would look at when we're doing a disability review, right? And it was like, I want to say it was like 5 or 6 fields that she was really focused on. And it was driving her crazy, right? Because it felt very inefficient. And obviously we want to try and help you get a little bit more efficient. And so one of the questions I asked was like, well, what if you could just kind of reach into the pile that is your data and pull out all of those policies with just the 5 or 6 fields that you wanted, and you could just work your way down the list? And she was like, well, God, that sounds great. But I don't think Quivr can't do that, right? And this is one of those cases where sometimes we just forget or don't realize that there are ways to get at this data. And it's stuff that, I know she's aware of how to do this. It's just you kind of like, you get into this mindset of like, this is how I need to do it, and you forget. And I think that's exactly what happened here. But basically, the way that we talked about doing this was, okay, we've got this data. We know it's attached to a household. We know it's attached to a contact. We also know that it's an actual object in the system. So, it's a spreadsheet inside of Quivr
Yeah.
of all of this disability data, right? That's an object. That's the lingo that we use is object to define that, but it's really just the spreadsheet, right? And so what we ended up doing is creating a report based on that disability insurance object. And then for the columns, you just define the fields that she wants to look at, and you can group them by household. So if you've got 2 doctors in one household, you're going to get both of them at the same time. Like, you can get really quickly to that data without having to click through the system, and you've just got a report. And then if you save the report, you've then got something you can go back, and when you do your disability review using an Archr workflow, which of course we would all do, right, Steve? I can link that report in the task step. And so then, maybe this is a firm record type thing where I just want to do it for everybody on, June 15th, because that's when I like to do it. I've got that firm task that comes up, review everyone's disability insurance. There's a link to the report in the task steps, because when I built it, I was like, I don't want to go hunt for this thing. I just want it available to me right there. Click on that. It opens up the report, make sure it's all the refreshed data, and then off we go. And instead of having to go through each individual household, now I'm just looking at like, okay, here's Steve's disability policy. Here's Will's disability policy. Here's Ashley's disability policy. Here's Ryan's disability policy. And the key data that I want, which is maybe, is it ONOC, is it whatever, or, what's the benefit amount, or any of the data that I want to be able to review, I've got it right there. And then if I want to leverage it and say like, well, I really want to be able to say, I want to look at this particular doctor's current income and compare it to the benefit and say, maybe that's one of the ways that these things got out of sync. Well, now I can just transform that into a joined report, bring in data from the income module, link it all up by household and by contact. And now I've got something where it's going to be like, here's the benefit amount. Here's the current annual income.
Yeah.
Do these things pencil?
And I love how you're taking this, keep going to the next level. Joined reports are awesome. They're also something that you're probably not going to do extensively. So what I would love for the takeaway from this to be is high level, like even at the way top, when this person was clicking into a household, clicking into a contact, clicking into the insurance module, clicking into the disability insurance policy, that's 5 clicks, doing that for all of your clients. I want a light bulb to go off. And that light bulb should be there has to be a better way to do this. Because trust me, when I have to do things like that and I had to do them at prior firms, my heart rate actually increases and I get physically angry. I'm not even joking, like physically angry. I remember when I launched my firm and I had to manually fill out account applications because I didn't like I didn't have time to do automate. I just had to get it done. I got physically angry at the time I wore an Apple Watch and it would like tell me, "Are you okay?" Like I got mad. So when you're doing things like that, I want the light to go off of there has to be a better way to do this. Get to office hours, submit a ticket, let us know, and we will show you the route. Because Will, you're spot on. Anything that you want access to, visibility to, I'm not going to say there's a 100% chance because we can't guarantee that, but it's got to be 95 to 98%, very, very, very high. I mean, for example, when the government shutdown was getting completed, I work with pre-retirees, and one of the most important things for my pre-retirees, especially if they're not on Medicare yet, or they are retired but not on Medicare yet, is healthcare, right? Health insurance planning. Well, the enhanced subsidies went away, so the new income that we care about is 84,600 now. I created a report showing me every single one of my clients' 2024 tax report return. I sorted by total income, and then I had my people that were impacted, and I was able to act on it. I did not open up PDFs to go look at tax returns, and I did not click into every single household and look at their tax return, right? I wanted that information in essentially a singular spreadsheet. And if I wanted to export that to a CSV, I could. But if I didn't know reports existed and I didn't know I could do that, and I started clicking, right, my heart rate would have elevated. I would have been annoyed. I would have been angry. And then my next step should have been, Quivr, can you guys help me? Because this sucks. And then we'll help you because it might seem daunting, but how I want our support to be is you have a problem, even if you don't know the direction the solution is, odds are we do. And we can point in the right direction. In a couple of minutes, we could save that person. I suspect you saved that person a day of time. So why not?
I hope so. Yeah, I certainly hope so.
But awesome. Well, that's a wrap. I hope the theme was taken out today. If your heart rate starts to get elevated, just let us know. If you're a Quivr user, of course, get to office hours, submit tickets, let us know how we can help you. If you're not a Quivr user, that's okay. Everybody makes mistakes. Nobody's perfect. But remember, it's not too late. Come schedule a demo. Come hang out with me. Come hang out with Will and see what Quivr can do for you.